Imagine being caught cheating right in the middle of your own wedding ceremony. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, you wouldn't believe the crazy stories I've heard from my years as a couples counselor. Today, I'm sharing one of the wildest cheating incidents that happen at the absolute worst possible moment. Hi, I'm Dr. John Dabach, a couples counselor and relationship coach. Cheating can destroy trust and completely upend relationships, but it's not always just about the act itself. It's about when and how it's discovered. Sometimes the timing of it can make the betrayal even worse. In my practice, I've seen couples recover from infidelity, but there are also cases where the cheating is revealed at such an insane, jaw-dropping moment that it leaves a permanent scar. Today, we're diving into one such story where cheating was exposed at the worst possible time. Let me just say you'll never guess how this all went down. Let me set the scene. Meet Sarah and Mark. Names have been changed, of course. Sarah is a high-powered attorney and Mark, an entrepreneur. They'd been dating for 5 years and decided to tie the knot in a stunning destination wedding in Greece. Think cliffside views, ocean breeze, and a guest list packed with high-profile professionals. It was the type of wedding people dream about for years, but little did Sarah know, Mark had been having an affair with one of the bridesmaids. Let's call her Lisa. For about 8 months leading up to the wedding. Now you're probably thinking, Dr. John, why would Mark still go through with the wedding? Well, here's the kicker. Mark had convinced himself he could end things with Lisa and go into the marriage with a clean slate. You know, the old one last fling before the wedding mindset. Spoiler alert, that never works. So here we are on the day of the wedding. Everything's perfect. Sarah's walking down the aisle and Mark is standing at the altar looking, I kid you not, pale as a ghost. Turns out, right before the ceremony, Lisa, the bridesmaid/mistress, sent Mark a series of texts threatening to expose their affair if he didn't call off the wedding. And here's where things take a turn for the absurd. As Sarah reaches the altar, Mark's phone vibrates. Now, any normal person would turn off their phone during their own wedding, right? Not Mark. He takes a quick look and sees Lisa has sent pictures. Explicit ones. In a panic, Mark stuffs his phone in his pocket, thinking he'll deal with it later. But guess what? The phone wasn't on silent. As the officiant begins to speak, a text notification chimes, then another, and another. Finally, Sarah turns to Mark and asks, "Are you going to answer that?" Thinking he's dodged a bullet, Mark says, "It's nothing, don't worry about it." And Sarah, who is normally calm and collected, says, "Let me see the phone." Now you can probably guess what happens next. Right there in front of everyone, parents, friends, and co-workers, Sarah opens the phone and is greeted with photos, texts, and proof of the affair during the ceremony. The reaction was explosive. Sarah immediately stormed off, the officiant stood there frozen, and the guests were in complete shock. But here's where it gets even crazier. Lisa, the bridesmaid, casually walks up to Mark and says, "I guess we don't need to hide it anymore." Like it's no big deal. The guests start whispering, people are getting up to leave, and Mark is standing there sweating, trying to explain himself. Sarah, meanwhile, is already packing her bags to fly home that night. The wedding was a complete disaster. Mark's friends and family couldn't even look at him in the eye. The groom's side and bride's side were practically at war by the end of the evening. Now, you'd think that this would be the end, right? That Sarah would never speak to Mark again. But here's the twist. Mark actually reached out to me a few months later, wanting to fix things. He thought he could patch up the relationship after everything that happened. I'll be honest with you, infidelity is difficult to overcome in any circumstance, but especially when it's revealed in such a public, humiliating way. Long story short, Sarah moved on. She wasn't interested in repairing something that had been shattered so completely. Mark ended up losing more than just a partner. He lost his friends, his business took a hit, and even his relationship with his family became strained. The lesson here? When it comes to infidelity, timing can amplify the pain and humiliation, turning a bad situation into an unforgettable disaster. Some betrayals are just too big to come back from. If you're in a relationship, know this: cheating doesn't just affect the person who was betrayed. It can have ripple effects that last for years. Trust is fragile, and once broken, it's nearly impossible to fully restore. And sometimes the damage is done in ways that you just can't even imagine until it's too late. Have you ever witnessed or experienced a cheating incident at the worst possible time? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more jaw-dropping stories or tips on how to improve your relationship, make sure to check out the next video on the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs a wake-up call.